Roll call is like roll call is for like the executive board members to see if you're present or not. So there are two types of presence, like when you're raising. So if you want to say present, you just say present. If you're absent, you say absent or abstain. And then there's something else called present and voting. Now, present and voting is a very interesting part of the roll call. It's very basic, so you don't really have to worry much about it. Basically, in the second or third day, you will be working on your resolutions. We'll talk about resolutions, directives, etc. over there. So if you want to vote during the resolutions, you can say present and voting. And if you don't want to vote for the resolutions, it's not compulsory, but ideally it is suggested, especially if you're member states of the United Nations, it's suggested that you say present and voting. And if in day one you say present and day two you say present and voting, it's completely fine. It is allowed. But if you say present in all 3 days, you can't vote during the resolutions. For example, now the EB member calls me, the delegate of Israel, for example. I say present in the first day. Second day, I can change it to present and voting. Or if I say present and voting in the first day, I can change it to present. Simple as that. And then quorum is basically the minimum members required for to start a committee session, start an MUN session. So basically, at many times it's 50% of the entire country matrix plus one. Now, this quorum, it depends on committee to committee. So I would not really, intervene. I won't talk more about that because if I discuss a lot, it might be a bit confusing. So I hope roll call and quorum is understood. Roll call basically is attendance, which is taken by the EB, your chair or your director of the committee before the start of the sessions. That's it. Now, voting and committee. Like I said for, against, or abstain. Now, there are two types of voting, substantive and procedural. The substantive kya hua? It's only for resolutions. So the last day, your entire conventional committees, for example, DISEC, UNSC, UNGA, etc., etc. You're doing, in the end, you're working on the MUN to find a resolution for your problem or your agenda. So this is substantive voting is only. So if you're saying present and voting, you're voting on the resolutions. Whereas procedural voting is for everything else. For example, now I want to raise a motion for a moderated caucus, for a debate, etc. We'll discuss all of these terms, so don't get surprised by moderated caucus क्या etc. वो मैं करवा लूंगा. But for example, कोई भी MUN में कुछ चल रहा है, तो उसमें you can say you want to vote for the moderated caucus to take place in the committee or the unmoderated caucus. So you're for, against, or you're abstain. Then also there's yes with rights, no with rights, but I would not go on that. I think the EB members for your committee should talk about that because it's a bit too complicated and it depends from committee to committee. But I hope substantive and procedural voting is understood. Substantive is just for resolution. I'm voting for the resolution, or I'm voting against the resolution, or the procedural voting, or I'm voting for the debate to take place between these two countries, or the moderated caucus, etc., etc. Okay, setting the agenda we discussed. Now motions. Motions is like, the part, the flow of discussion which is taking place within the committee sessions. So, motions hua, for example, moderated caucus hua, GSLs hua. Now, when you want to go after the roll call and stuff, the chair will ask, the directors will ask, are there any motions on the floor? That is when delegates, you raise your plakas, you raise your hand on your Zoom meeting and you start with a motion. You want to raise a motion so that now the agenda is, it's moving forward. For example, now you want to raise a motion to enter a moderated caucus. It's very simple. And I suggest kindly raise motions during the committee sessions because the chair will also mark you positively. They'll think, ha, chalo, this person knows how to raise motions. This person knows how to, change the trajectory of the committee sessions. The more you do that, the more, the chair is impressed, more chances you have of winning the best delegate award which you're chasing. Ultimately, we all want that. So it's foreign policy and this has to be maintained. Now, for example, I'm the delegate of India. So the delegate of India would like to raise a motion to enter the general speakers list. Simple. And now the chair will ask how many speakers and the time limit for the general speakers list. Now, basically, GSL is always for 90 seconds and it's for the discretion of the directors or assistant directors to choose how many speakers they want. But if you have like a moderated caucus, we'll discuss about moderated caucus in some time. But for example, if I'm the delegate of Iran, I want to raise a motion. So I'll start off by saying the delegate of Iran would like to raise a motion to enter a moderated caucus on the topic A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Well, it depends on your committee session. It depends on your committee's agenda. So you raise a moderated caucus in relation to your agenda, in relation to your agenda. You can't. So, for example, we are talking about India-Pakistan war. The moderated caucus cannot be about, Israel bombing Hamas. It's not related to the agenda. So kindly stay consistent to the agenda और कुछ complicated ज़्यादा मत करो. So I'm the delegate of Iran. I would like to raise a motion to enter a moderated caucus. Now the chair will ask how many speakers and per speaker time. This means how many quite literally kitne speakers are suggested by the raiser of the motion, and how many minutes does the speaker have. For example, 10 minutes and per speaker time 1. So that means that 10 speakers allowed. Basic mathematics. इसका कुछ ज़्यादा मतलब tension नहीं लेता है. Also, the directors might ask if you want to go first or you want to go last. So you can always say, I want to go first in the speaker, in the moderator caucus, if I want to go last. Now, of course, this matrix, this procedure can be changed by the directors or assistant directors as per their discretion. Now, points. By points, matlab, these are very important. Just laws hote hain na in our constitution. Whereas points, simple as that. There are 4 types of points. First is point of information. Now, point of information, basically, if you want to ask a question. So, for example, I've given a speech. You all give speeches. Minimum once you have to give a speech. The more you give speeches, the more, the directors are impressed by your work. Simple as with that with POIs. POIs is questions you're asking on top of a speech. For example, I'm the delegate of Iran. I gave a good speech, etc., etc. And now the delegate of USA, any one of y'all, okay, you're the delegate of USA. You want to ask a question to the delegate of Iran. Oh, how can you say all of this? Or you're talking about their hypocrisy. Oh, Iran did this in the past. How are you saying that we'll fix it in the future? So if you want to ask such type of questions and you want to annoy the delegate of Iran, you raise the point of information and the director or the assistant director will choose you. For example, I'm the delegate of Iran. I give a speech. Then one of you all give, you all raise the point of information. Then the director will ask, or you want to ask a question. So point of information. Then point of information, you are recognized. Then the delegate of USA will ask, okay, so delegate of Iran, the delegate's question to you, to the delegate of Iran is so and so and so. How can you do all of this? Basically asking a question on top of a speech. Simple as that. And now POO, point of order. So now point of order is used by delegates to raise concerns on the conduct of the debate. So this is directed to the executive board. For example, if you're going haywire from the committee sessions agenda, for example, now our agenda is, India-Pakistan war, for example. And now we are suddenly talking about, Britain, they invaded India back 200 years back, etc., etc. Whatever, they colonized and stuff, colonizers. That again, that's deviating from our agenda because we're not about India and Pakistan directly. Or if it is, it does relate, chalta hai. But if it's, it's deviating a lot, you can say, I'm like point of order. This is, deviating. This is not within the rules of procedure, etc., etc. So it is directed to the EB members. Then by point of parliamentary inquiry, this is when you want to ask a question to, the director or the assistant director on the flow of events, what's going to happen next. For example, you have a doubt on clarification on how the rules of procedure is. If you don't, if you're a bit confused, ki resolutions kab hoga, or when will you have a moderated caucus, unmoderated caucus. So you raise a point of parliamentary inquiry and the executive board will answer. Point of personal privilege, by it's like, if you want to go to the bathroom, you say point of personal privilege, may I go to the washroom? Simple as that.
Sorry, Shlok, I'm just interrupting you here. For everyone who has their cameras off, again, as we told you, please turn your cameras on. It'll be really helpful to Shlok as well to see you all excited about this session and listening about MUNs, because we'll need this definitely on during the MUN committee and conference. Again, if you don't turn it on, you will not get your certificates. And also for all the questions and answers, you don't need to put it in chat. Shlok will take them at the end of his session. So don't worry. He's just not taking it right now to not break the flow and go ahead and explain everything to you. If you have still questions after that, you can always ask him. He'll unmute you specifically. You can raise your hand at the end of the session and he'll unmute you for your questions. Again, please turn on your cameras. And yeah, Shlok, sorry to interrupt you. You can continue now.
Thank you. I was saying, point of parliament, personal privilege. You want to go to the washroom, or you want a delegate to speak louder because, the delegate is not very audible. So you say, point of point of personal privilege. Can the delegate of, Canada speak a bit louder? It's not audible. Now, out of all of these points, which we discussed, point of personal privilege is the only one where you can interrupt the speaker. Simple as that. You can't say point of parliamentary inquiry while the speaker is giving a speech. But you can say point of personal privilege. Can you raise your voice? Can the delegate raise their voice? You can use that while interrupting. Now, please, delegates, do not ask to go to the washroom while someone's speaking, while someone's giving a speech. That interrupts the flow of events. This is an online one. You can just raise your point later and just go for 1 or 2 minutes and come back. So halfway done. So if you have any questions, I'll take a few questions, like 5 or 6 questions right now, so that we don't forget anything if the flow is going on. So are there any questions right now? Kindly just raise your hands. I guess not. Any questions? You can raise your hand, right? And please, delegates, if you have a question and you are scared because there's 60-70 people and you are, वो डर लगता है कि हाँ भाई, if I fumble up, लोग क्या सोचेंगे? Please, you should not, don't worry about during an everyone. Kindly don't. Okay, thank you. Yes, Vihan. You can unmute. Vihan, do you have a question?
Yes. Sorry, I just had a doubt on point of parliamentary inquiry. So I couldn't understand it clearly.
देखो, point of parliamentary inquiry. ROP, now I'm explaining the ROP to you during our training sessions. If you still have any doubts on the committee day, you can ask your EB members again during the committee session. Okay, what is point of parliamentary inquiry? Or what is point of personal privilege? Or when is the GSL starting? I'll tell you what's GSLs later. Don't get too freaked out. If you have any questions, you can ask the EB members. The question you ask me right now, you can ask the same thing during the committee session. You can say, for example, you're a delegate of Vietnam. For example, I'll say the delegate of Vietnam, a point of parliamentary inquiry, delegate of Vietnam would like to ask the executive board members, when will the unmoderated caucus start? Simple as that. You have a question for the EB. Sorted? Okay. Khushi, please. You're unmuted.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So my question was actually, I just can't understand that slide where the moderated caucus was written, and you were explaining that you have to give this
See,
speech.
I moderated. Okay. So, that's no problem. So they go moderated caucus now. I'll get back to you on that. I don't know why we can go. So moderated caucus, basically, it's like I'll discuss what's moderated caucus later. But if you want to raise, I'll give you a template. Okay. I raise my hand, I raise my placard like you did. The chair will recognize me. And then I'll say, the delegate of so and so would like to raise a motion to enter a moderated caucus, and then you give your topic on asterisk. You give your topic. For example, A, B, C, D, jo bhi hua. It depends on your agenda. For example, now the agenda is India-Pakistan war again. We all understand India-Pakistan war. So moderated caucus is related to India-Pakistan war. So what will Pakistan do to retaliate against India? That would be a moderated caucus raised, and then that's it. The delegate of India would like to raise the motion to enter a moderated caucus, and then topic. And then then the chair will ask how many speakers and stuff like that. You'll just say, 10 speakers, 1 speaker per minute, etc. That understood? So basically, you are the delegate. You say the delegate would like to raise a motion. Okay? And then you give the topic. Simple as that. Don't stress it. All right. Aradhya, I'll just take 2 more. Aradhya, Samuel, and then Gauri.
Good evening, sir. So my doubt was that if the opposing delegate is asking a irrelevant question, I would say that I'm not sure about or certain about. So how should I oppose myself?
That's a good question. If they ask you a POI, so if it's irrelevant, then the director or the executive board, they will say that it does not make sense. So they'll cut them off immediately. So you won't have to answer that. But if they ask a question and you can't answer, see, ideally you should know. But if you don't know, you can say, I would like to reply via Chit. I'll tell you what's a Chit later. So Chit system is also there. We'll discuss that in the presentation later. I'll reply via Chit. Now, if you say a reply via chat, you can go back, you can research and then kindly do reply via chat. Because if you say you'll reply via chat and you don't do that, then the EB members will think that you do not know the answers at all. But if you don't know the thing, this is a trick, okay? This is a cheat trick. You say, I want to reply via chat, done. The POI closes, and then later you just go research when others are speaking, and then, ask then give it via chat, and kindly send it via the EB so that EB knows that, okay, you have answered the question.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Oh, welcome. And Samuel?
Thank you for the recognition. So I had two doubts. The first was by raising our hands, do we have to physically raise our hands or?
The way you raised your hand right now, boss.
Okay.
We don't have placards now. So raise your hand like this. The chair will see it and then they'll recognize you. Simple as that.
And the second one was, are we getting the country matrix?
Confirmation on?
Country matrix for like all the nations that are
country
present.
matrix. Oh, okay. I think so. You'll have to ask the SecGen. You'll have to ask Shivansh for that. But ideally, I don't think so. But ideally, you would. I'll check with and I'll get back to you. Right. And I'll take a few questions later if I don't recognize you right now. Gauri last, and then I'll work on it. After a few slides, I'll ask a few questions. Yes. You're muted. 1 second. Yes.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I had a doubt. I didn't exactly understand when you're supposed to say present and when you're supposed to say present and voting.
See, present and voting, kya? If you see, I'll talk about a resolution later when resolutions are there. But basically, if you want to vote in the resolution to solve the agenda, then you can say present and voting. And if you don't want to vote, keep resolution whether it be fails or passes, you don't care. You just say present. Simple as that. Okay. And also one more thing. If you're non-member states of the UN, for example, Palestine is not a part of the United Nations. So you can't vote during resolutions. So delegate of Palestinians out there, you can't vote for your resolutions. Just say present. That's it. That's it. And you can change your stance, present and voting later in the days. Simple as that. All right. I'll take a few questions later now. I won't let any of y'all, I won't not take any questions. I'll take a few later. I hope your doubts are clear. Now we'll talk about yields and right to reply. Yields and right to reply. It's very basic. For example, now you have an extra time in a speech and you want to, you don't know what to do. So you can either yield it to a point of information. You can let the other delegates ask you a question, or you can yield it to the EB. The EB would most likely, dissolve that time, or you can give it to another delegate for the next, if you have remaining 5-10 seconds from your speech, the delegate will conclude, where the delegate will give a 5-10 second speech on this topic. Simple as that. Yields are not very, revolutionary. Also, one more thing I want to point out for POIs, delegates, kindly make sure that you're listening to other speeches, because the more POIs you ask others on their speeches, the more it shows that you're attentive during committee sessions and that you're not playing games and stuff on your laptop. You're not playing, Roblox or anything. So kindly be attentive, ask POIs again and again. And one more thing, delegates, one thing which I've noticed in a lot of first timers is that they're scared to ask or they're scared to give their speeches. Delegates, don't do that. Why? Even if you fumble it up, people might giggle, max to max giggle for 5-10 seconds, and then they'll go back to their own speeches because they're scared on what they will say. You don't really need to worry, but if you give a good performance with full confidence, I'm confidently giving right now in front of 70 people because I don't care. If I fumble it up, if I cough in the middle, I don't care. I won't meet any of the other delegates ever again. And if I do it very well, for the next 2 days, I might get best delegate. I might get a high commendation, etc. If you do well, it will be remembered for a lifetime. It will go on your college applications that how you won TTD MUN. And even if you fumble up, ek do word idhar udhar gaya, you don't know. No one really cares. 5-10 seconds ke baad they will forget. So bejijak, go for giving the speeches. Don't be scared on what others will think. We would rather go with full confidence. Don't go with that, I don't really care wala attitude. Ki achhe se go. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. If it happens, then very well. It will go into your CV. It will go into your college app. You apply to a good university like, Harvard or anything, for example. You show that, you have won so many MUNs. Why? Because you don't really care if you fumble up or not. Simple as that. Now, right to reply, right to reply by, it's like, an entertaining one, okay? It can lead to also, motions for entertainments, etc. Right to reply can, if a delegate gives a nonsensical remark on me. For example, I'm delegate of India. Delegate of Pakistan says, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a mad guy. Or he only runs behind girls and stuff. He only runs behind Meloni. This all, it's nonsense, okay? You will not, as a delegate, you would not jailify it, okay? Main na sahta type of thing. So if you main na sahta type of thing, you go for a right to reply. How can the delegate of Pakistan say something like this? So you raise a right to reply to the EB. Most likely the EB will accept it. And now this over here, it can go to motion of entertainment, where you can ask the delegate of Pakistan to write an apology, or maybe ask them to dance as an apology later when the committee sessions are over. So basically like that, you can't directly target a delegate or a head of state. You can't say Putin is a bald madman, or he ran away from a mental hospital type of thing. You can't say all of that. So if you do, and if you do say all of that, then it might go against your marking system. The chairs won't like it. For example, I'm an AIPPM. I can't call Rahul Gandhi Pappu, especially if it's in debates. Then that's a different thing. But you can't call him Pappu during a committee session. So simple as that. If you do call him that, you might get barred from the committee. Barred is where you are just removed from the committee session for 5-10 minutes, or for a decided period of time. So kindly do not use such remarks and stuff, and kindly do not curse. Do not curse during your committee sessions. Those F words, BC, etc., etc. Do not say like that. You'll get barred for the entire day. So you don't want to lose it. Now, by GSL, according to me, is like it's like the most important thing which can decide if you can win best delegate or not. It can literally change the motion, change the flow of the committee. What is GSL? GSL basically is a starting opening speech into the committee session. Every single delegate has to give that GSL. And in that GSL, you will decide, you will talk about your stance in the agenda, and clearly you will talk about what solutions you want to see, and what other positions you have, how do you want to work on that agenda, etc., etc. GSL mein, you are giving a proper overview on the entire topic, on the entire agenda, pointing out your alliances, etc., etc. Now GSL mein, this is the most important thing, because if you give a good GSL, the chairs would actually like it, and they might think, acha, the first, you see, a first impression is the most important thing. GSL gives your first impression. You give a good GSL, सबको लगेगा हाँ ये delegate में बात है, ये best delegate बन सकता है. How do you give a good GSL? I'll tell you. I've seen many delegates. वो क्या करते हैं? Wikipedia से copy paste करते हैं, and they say, "Oh, the delegate of Germany has done this in the past for women's rights. Oh, Russia has done this for the war in Ukraine." भाई आप कोई भी copy paste करोगे, Chat GPT से भी कुछ भी करोगे, Perplexity AI से भी कुछ भी करोगे. If I go to Google, I can also find the same amount of information. What's so different about you that you are giving me the same information, which I can read it off Google in just 2 minutes? That GSL में ना ऐसा कोई Wikipedia का copy paste, please do not read it. Give your own this thing. कि हाँ, the delegate of India would like to see this happen in POK. This thing happen in the line of control in the Pakistan border, etc., etc. जितना controversial भी बनाना बना सकते हो. But if you can handle the POS, so GSL में ना give clear points कि हाँ, how can you give, what is your stance for this thing? How would you want to change the entire flow events, etc., etc. For example, my stance, USA stance on Russia-Ukraine war. We all know what's Russia-Ukraine war, hopefully. So USA stance on Russia-Ukraine war. Oh, Russia can't be doing like this. Ukraine will always win the war. Aisa. Give a strong speech. Like you see in the parliament, just Modi ji gives the speech. वैसे, give a strong speech. So the chair knows that, okay, the director knows that this delegate पे उसमें वो बात है of getting best delegate. So kindly do not give a copy paste. If you want, I'll give you a tip. Write your speech in pointers and then elaborate on those pointers. 5-6 pointers, put it down in a piece of paper, and then elaborate on those pointers. Just don't read it out. So that will affect rate, and put that dramatics and stuff, so that people are aware. If you start reading, so Germany was founded in 1956 and Germany did blah 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 blah. I myself would get bored. कि भाई ये क्या पढ़ रहा है? I'm to this thing. I'll work on my GSL. But if you have a good GSL, oh, the delegate of India would like to see this thing happen in Pakistan. Oh, we will do this thing to Imran Khan. This people would take attention. They will take notes कि हाँ भाई ये कुछ जोर का बोल रहा है, ये जोड़ आदमी कुछ जोर का बोल रहा है, कुछ होगा. And because of that, people will pay attention to your GSL. They pay attention to your GSL. they might understand, okay, this person's stance is so and so. And now this public speaking skills would reflect on if you can win your best delegate or not. Ultimately, we all want that. So do we have any questions with the GSL? Because I think GSL is the most important. If you have any questions, please, Bejajak, ask. Do not flinch. Yes, sir, Radha.
Sir, as you mentioned that we should not copy it from ChatGPT or any other source. So from where should we pick information to present?
So I have an entire slide just for that, for your research purposes. So I'll address your doubt. But see, for any caucus or anything, for any speech throughout the MN, don't do ChatGPT and stuff. We will get to know. You have done ChatGPT, you have reading out from some website or anything. So kindly don't do that. Use your own words and use your own understanding. You want to take this thing. We have background. So your undersections and your executive board members, they have created a full background guide for you all, so that it's easy for you all to research. So everything is set for you all. You all don't really need to worry or anything. So, and I'll address that doubt later as well.
Okay.
Yes, Chatal.
I just wanted to ask that in the GSL, we are going to say a speech, like it's in the starting of our speech, like we would ask them, or we would just clear our topic, what's our topic or what's not.
No, I didn't understand. Like, so your stance, talking about the stance.
I was just asking that in the GSL, the journal speakers list, we are just going to clear our topic, or we are going to defend the opponent team.
Defend your opponent. देखो मैं बताता हूँ. GSL क्या है? So GSL basically, it's not defending anything. It's like agenda है, ठीक है? For example, agenda हुआ India-Pakistan war, ठीक है? You're Pakistan, I'm India. So defend, why would you defend your opponent team? No. You would talk about your own stance. You will talk about your own country's stance in the topic. Okay? What all do you want to see in this thing? What all resolutions, what all solutions you have on this? Your stance. I don't like India and stuff. India has done this, that. And we would retaliate or something like that. That stance which you have, you will discuss that in your GSL. Okay? You won't defend or anything. You will talk about what stance you have. And the agenda जो है, agenda में you'll talk about कि agenda में what all you want to see and what you think of the agenda. ठीक है? For example, so I'll give an example. Topic agenda is India-Pakistan war, that Pakistan's invaded India, whatever. I'm delegate of India. I'll start. The delegates, whatever Pakistan's done, this is unconstitutional according to international law, blah, 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 blah. And I'll say, oh, Pakistan's done this, that, and yet India will prevail. And in our resolutions, we want to see Pakistan, demobilizing, going away from POK, from Pakistan occupied Kashmir, giving us the entirety of Kashmir, etc., etc. This would be a GSL. Now people will give out points of information, the questions they have, etc., and kindly do answer them. Does that answer your question? All right. Thank you. Yes, Shrishta. One second. Yeah.
Any max limit to how long the GSL can be?
Sorry?
What is the max limit to how long the GSL can go
90
on?
seconds. Every single GSL would be for max to max 90 seconds. So for 90 seconds, yes?
Any minimum duration?
Can we make a?
Minimum.
There is no minimum duration. You can even say for 15 seconds, but kindly don't say it for 15 seconds. Lamba khicho, and jitna lamba hoga, don't bore your audience. That is it. Just convey your points. Time is not important. Convey your points just maximum within 90 seconds. And I talked about yields now. So if you have a lot of time left, it would be yielded to another delegate or yielded to POIs, etc.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Yes, Bianca.
How long does the GSR last for each person?
90 seconds.
90 seconds? All right, cool. Thank you.
All right, so GSL ke doubts, I hope they are cleared. If you have any other doubts, ask right now. You can ask in the Q&A session as well. And please do not refrain from asking doubts and stuff. No doubt is dumb. I'm telling you, no doubt is dumb. Every single doubt is very, very important. In the end, you want to win best delegate. You want to show your mom, dad that, हाँ, मैं काम का बंदा हूँ. ठीक है? Next is, well, unmoderated, moderated caucus. I've been talking about the moderated caucus for some time now. I'll tell you what's a moderated caucus now. So by moderated caucus, basically, there's a topic, okay, agenda mein na, I talked about, raising the motion for a moderated caucus. Basically, every single country is talking about that specific topic. The difference between GSL and moderated caucus is that GSL, we are talking about the entire agenda. Whereas moderated caucus, you're talking about a segment, a part of the entire agenda, a topic. I'll talk, a basic example, India-Pakistan war chal raha hai, that's my agenda. I'll talk about what steps will Pakistan take against India. That's the topic. Now, now a list of countries will talk about this topic from a range of 45 seconds to 60 seconds or even 90 seconds if the executive board wants. But ideally, it's like 45 to 60 seconds. Then in that 45 to 60 seconds, you'll talk about this topic. Again, basically, you just talk about this topic, key topic, mein, what will this so and so country do and your stance in this particular topic. It's basically GSM, but that particular topic. And then you will have 10 speakers or chance by chance. Again, you can ask a point of information or any doubts within that moderated caucus. Simple as that. Now, unmoderated caucus, by unmoderated caucus is where you it's now, I'll say it's like, unmoderated caucus is where now the formal debate this thing does not, apply. You're talking about, the delegate of India, delegate of Pakistan, delegate of US. In unmoderated caucus, you can speak informally. It's basically when you're lobbying, when you're discussing the agenda. So you can roam around in the committee session. Now the committee session does not exist. You can roam around the committee session and you can start making alliances. You can start making friends, as I talked about in foreign policy. And you can start working on your, documents, or you can on your resolutions, etc., etc. Unmoderated caucus, basically, it's like a recess type of thing. It's recess. But kindly work during that recess. It's a work recess. You can't play football or anything. You can't play games during the unmoderated caucus. So kindly don't do that. Now, how do you want to raise an unmoderated caucus? Same as moderated caucus. Delegate of a country would like to raise a motion to suspend formal debate and move into an unmoderated caucus for a total time of so and so minutes. And same as with here. The delegate of country would like to raise a motion to suspend formal debate and move to a moderated caucus. Simple as that. No tensions. Now, debates. By debates, one of my favorite things. Debates is where you all are very formal. Okay, in normal moderated caucus, etc. GSL, you're very formal. Yes, delegate of India, delegate of Pakistan. Over here, you can go full rowdy if you want to. Okay, debates mein kya hoga, 1v1 or 2v2. So it depends on what type of debate the chair chooses. For example, if it's a sophisticated debate like one after one, there are debates is basically kya, two delegates or two or more delegates are fighting against each other on a topic. You have seen debates na Arnav Goswami ka on the TV where they are fighting and this, that on a particular topic. The same is with over here. I'll take the simple example, India-Pakistan war. So, for example, we'll have a debate. India versus Pakistan on the topic India-Pakistan war. Now, it depends. Now, either there are two types of debates. Either it be one after one. So, like first, India will speak for 2 minutes. Then Pakistan will speak for 2 minutes. Then they'll rebuttal for 2 minutes. And then they'll rebuttal for 2 minutes. Sophisticated, or you'll go full on like rowdy. Oh, how can you say like this? Oh, how can you can cut off in the middle. Jo jagda karna hai karo. Of course, gali wali mat do. But yeah, oh, you can't do all of this and you're talking about this. You couldn't handle Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but you want the entirety of Kashmir. You don't have atta, you don't have wheat or anything. You don't have bijli, and yet you are talking about being better than India. All of this. You can all talk about that. So either it can be structured or it can be full rowdy, it can be full ballistic. It can be on a particular agenda or it can also be a 2v2 and it can also be pushed to a 3v3 where 3 countries for 3 countries against. For example, India, UK, France versus Pakistan, China, Russia. I say. I hope this is clear. Debates, basically Arnav Goswami wale debates. Either it's sophisticated one after one. It's like, a more diplomatic thing, or it's all full rowdy like Arnav Goswami. I hope that's clear. I see a few hands raised. I'll answer your doubts later, please. Now, chits. I talked about chits. Chits kya hai? By you want to talk to your delegates. Now, during formal debate, kindly do not, talk. There are no cross talks. Okay. So, for example, I'm giving a speech. 2 delegates, the delegates of China and Canada, they can't be speaking and interrupting this thing. No. So, if you want to do that, you can do chits. Now, there are 2 types of chits: substantive and informal. Substantive kya hai? Written communication method, you send it via the EB. और उसमें क्या है, you're talking about something very important in terms of the agenda, etc. For example, so you write a chit. I'm the delegate of India to the delegate of France. Oh, we should start working on the resolution, and in the resolution we should talk about how do we demobilize Pakistan's troops in POK. So that is now, that talks about a plan of action. Likha hai plan of action. Now kindly send it via the EB. So if you send it via the EB ko lagega ki yes, you are working on it, etc. Informal chits kya hai? You want to just talk to the delegates informally. Oh, delegate of China, let's do a 2v2 debate against the delegate of India and delegate of USA. Something of that sort. So plan of action it is, but at the same time, it's a bit informal. Or you can just say, oh, delegate of Brazil, let's make an alliance. Simple as that. I hope there are no doubts. Okay, I see a few hands raised. I'll answer those doubts because I want to clear everything. We'll start with Kian. I'll take just 2 doubts and then we'll move to a Q&A session later. Usme you can
So,
ask.
yes, I would like to ask my doubt that will the moderated caucus topics will be declared to us before the committee or during the committee?
You decide what the moderated caucus topics are. The delegates decide. The EB doesn't. So you won't be provided. You would be given exemplar moderated caucus debates on topics and stuff. But in the end, you will decide and you will raise the motion. It is up to your creative liberty. Ki, haan, acha, I want to talk about this. I'll raise it as a motion.
Okay.
Is that clear? So it's your creative liberty. Apne dimag se sochne ka. Don't stress it or anything. If you want, in the background guides which are provided by your EB members, you can access it and you can check. They are given some exemplar, moderated caucus topics. You can either use that or you can use your own ones as well, as long as it passes in the committee. Now, also, when you're raising a motion, all the delegates also have to vote for it. As I talked about voting, they will vote for it if they want to see the motion pass or fail. Okay, Ravi, I'll just take 2 doubts. Ravi, you can. Thanks.
Would there be a time limit for the debate?
Yeah, so it depends on the EB members. Okay, I can't say it in the general ROP. So it can be either 5 minutes total, 6 minutes total, 3 minutes total. That's
Okay,
it.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take a few doubts later. I'll don't worry, all of your doubts would be cleared by the end of the session. Now, draft resolutions. By resolutions now, most important thing. Okay. Resolutions में in the end, why are you debating? Why are you मतलब इतना grind क्यों मार रहे हो for the last 2-3 days? Because you want to see the topic solved. In conventional committees, at least, like dissect, UNSC, etc. So you want a draft draft resolution discussions. Basically, you want, it's a plan of action. Plan of action involved, and you can use it with the help of other delegates and other co-authors. Or now you also author or co-author a resolution. So there can be maximum 1 author and 2 co-authors, and then there will be a lot of signatories. In that, you talk about the resolutions and stuff. Now, I'll talk about something, and preambulatory clauses and operative clauses. In your MUN resolutions and stuff, every single point, if you go and you check constitution mein, there are very clauses and stuff within laws. For example, article 370 ho gaya, or dafa 420 type of thing which you hear over there. They will have the clauses and stuff on how do you want to start. So there would be two phases to your resolution. First would be preambulatory clauses, and then there would be operative clauses. They all have to start by either of these. Okay? Alarmed, fulfilling, guided by, having examined, stressing, taking into account, or recommending, etc., etc. Okay? Or recognizing. And then operative clauses. For example, demands, directs, further invites, introduces, notes, urges, welcomes, solemnly affirms, etc., etc. These are in your resolutions. You start, so as a resolution, as a start hoga, you are the author, co-author, signatories, and you start on what is the resolution about to solve the problem India versus Pakistan war. Okay, and you name your resolution. You can name a resolution literally anything. Okay, you can name it Big Boss, you can name it Liverpool, name it whatever you want to name. And then you start with preambulatory clauses, and you start with and then operative clauses on what all you want to see. For example, encourages Pakistan to demobilize troops from POK, or instructs Pakistan to respect line of control boundaries, etc., etc. So I hope this is clear. So I'll also, I'll show a resolution ka, sample resolution, so that it can be further understood. Don't worry, I'll not make it that difficult for us. So free sample, again. For example, you start off like this. Wait, I'll look for a better one. So if you want, after the training session, if you have any more doubts and stuff, you can also go to bestdelegate.com. I highly recommend it because usme they're very guided. So now, for example, this is the agenda, and then you talk about either authors or sponsors. So USA, Austria, Italy, etc. signatories, and the General Assembly. Now these over here, these are preambulatory clauses. Okay, and there have to be minimum 7 to 7. Yeah. So preambulatory clauses and then operative clauses, etc. So heading hua, preambulatory clauses hua, and then operative clauses. Simple as that. So I hope this is understood. I'll take a few doubts later as well on this topic. Any which ways, we'll continue. Resolutions or what's up. I hope that is this thing. Closing debate to theek hai. Now, how to research. We also had a few doubts on how to research. I'll address that now, how to research. So first, we have background guides. Our executive board members, your directors and stuff have worked very hard on creating that background guides and stuff for you. So you can use these background guides. So they're very research extensive. Sab kuch usme diya hai, the overview of your committee and stuff like that. But also it is suggested, don't just completely rely on the background guides. It's just like, it gives you a brief idea on the topic and stuff. In the end, go on your laptop and research specifically on what all you want to see, what's your country's stance, etc., your foreign policy, or what your country thinks of that resolution, of that debate, etc. But you can use your background guides. And also, don't use ChatGPT, Wikipedia and stuff. It's not recognized by UN sources. Use official sources. Okay, so for example, a UN website, UNSC का website अलग होता है, UNGA का website अलग होता है. You can use these UN websites to talk about, take official documentation and take, recognized information. ऐसे कोई chunnumunu.com से मत जाओ, because it can be absolute nonsense. The same can be for other, other news outlets and stuff, because it might be a bit, I would say might be a very biased and stuff. Then of course, committee mandates, understand the purpose, wo sab ho gaya, and resolutions, conventions. Now, websites I suggest you can talk about is, for example, you can go for Al Jazeera, or you can go for routers. All of these, you can go to Google, you can search on UN certified websites, and these websites and these links will take you to reliable sources. For example, मैं जाऊंगा Al Jazeera. I'd rather go to Al Jazeera than Economic Times, because Economic Times might not be as respected or considered by the UN compared to Al Jazeera or compared to routers. These are professional websites. They're actually unbiased and recognized by the UN. So kindly use these sources. And of course, organize your research. मैं क्या करता हूँ? I just prepare a Google Doc for myself. Usme I categorize, I put key informations, key points, key notes, etc. And then I talk about committee sessions and how I categorize. So you can categorize, summarize, note taking, etc. And it's suggested you do it before. Don't do research during committee sessions, because it's suggested you ask POIs and stuff. You ask questions and etc. to the fellow delegates who are giving the speeches, so that it's understood that you're paying attention. Simple as that. Yeah. And of course, speech structures, you give an introduction, you content and stuff. Zyada wo nahi hota. Now, blocks. So I talked about foreign policy, like, group of countries and stuff. For example, NATO. I hope everyone knows what NATO is. So NATO is a bloc, okay, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So US, Canada, and all European countries, they are a combined bloc. So you can create such NATO blocks within your committees. Or even like, for example, the Southeast Asian countries like this Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, etc. They also have the professional bloc on in real life diplomatically. So you can create those blocks as well. Simple as that. It's basically research on your foreign policy. It depends on your foreign policy. That is it. And now factors of making a bloc. Now here's the thing. Everyone wants to win best delegate. Everyone wants to get high commendation and stuff. Uske liye kya? You have to be the leader. You have to run your bloc. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता you just sitting by as a signatory. हाँ बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं, मैं देखता हूँ क्या जाता है. That does not work. You have to step up. You have to show that you are the leader. So the bigger your bloc, the easier it is. The greater the size of the bloc, easier it is to get resolutions and stuff. Okay, that allows you to win your resolution, or get your resolution passed. In the end, when you're making the resolution, you're presenting in front of the committee, and then the committee, all of your delegates vote if they want to see the resolution pass or they want to see the resolution fail. Okay, so the greater the size of the bloc, you'll get more votes for your resolution. Same as with the leadership, you have to be the leader. Okay, so that the judges, your executive board think that haan, TK, dhang ka delegate hai, he knows how to lead, he knows how to do stuff. For example, the delegate of India, I'm the delegate of India. I would like to lead my bloc with the South Asian countries or with USA, UK, etc. If I show leadership, then it works well. And pre-existing alliances. I talked about NATO. Kindly research on alliances, because if you research on alliances, it would be very, very beneficial. And of course, I talked about being a leader in your bloc. It's crucial so that you can direct the flow of the majority of the delegates. Be confident and be loud. Dar ke rahoge na, you can't be the leader. Okay? So, what is this? So, if you do all of that, then, it's easy for you to win best delegate, win high commendation. And position yourself strategically, have good connections. Lafda wafda mat karo. Don't fight with other delegates. Then no one want to be your bloc. Understood? And, you can socialize, respect the delegates, do not curse us now, and empower them, encourage them. Don't be their boss. Don't boss them around. Then no one wants to be your friend. Okay. Be like, suggest them, be their friend, allow them to speak, etc. etc. And then, of course, awards in your month. In the end, we are not fighting for a resolution. We want to win the MUN. So how do you do that? You get best delegate. So here's this thing. Best delegate. It's like the best delegate in the committee. You're coming number one. High commendation second. Honorable mentions are third. And then verbal commendations, where, you're given that, okay, noteworthy contributions in the committee. Everyone kindly focus on winning best delegate. You get best delegate, it shows greatly on your application that you are a good public speaker and that you know how to show diplomacy, you have debate skills. Now, best delegate, what all do you have to do for getting best delegate? Be a good overall delegate. Your research should be apt. Your speeches should be good. Your strategies, your foreign policy is maintained, etc., etc. And of course, others. If you aim for best delegate, you can get it. Okay, don't fear that. Oh, if I don't get best delegate, it's fine. It's your first MUN. If you don't get best delegate, chalta hai. You can get the other MUNs as well. Now, on ethics. As I said, don't, copy some other delegate's work. Don't use ChatGPT or Gemini. Don't use AI and stuff. It should be your own this thing. And of course, respect copyright and plagiarism. I hope this academic integrity is, we all know this from our school days. Kindly do that. Kindly maintain that as well. Do not, copy, paste or do Wikipedia or anything. So I hope that is clear. Or kuch hai nahi. I'm just trying to rush on to this. Thank you. If you have any doubts, I'll take a Q&A session now. Kuch all doubts or anything, bejijak ask. Do not, fear or anything. I'm also accessible on WhatsApp. I'll be on your WhatsApp groups. So if you have any doubts, you can go on PC. You can DM me. My number is there. I'll put it on the chat as well. So you can, text me on WhatsApp. You can DM me on WhatsApp. I'll happily address your doubts if you have any doubts later. And kindly go for best delegate. If you go for best delegate, it will be very, very good. Okay, it shows that, okay, you're a very good delegate and stuff. I hope nothing else is left. All right. So I'll now take doubts. Just go be Bejrak, you can ask all of your doubts. I'll start with Akansh. You're on mute. Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I have doubt. Chits you have explained just now, so I have doubt with that. Can explain this once more? The chits section.
Yeah. Firstly, don't call me sir. Call me Shlok. First name basis. Bye. Tum log ke age ka hu. I'm your age as well. Don't call me sir and stuff. Don't be very formal. But yeah, okay. So now chit system. You text your friends on WhatsApp and stuff now. It's the same thing like that. You are just, passing out chits. Now, during the committee sessions, you can't talk. You can't do cross talks. You can't talk with your friends or with your delegates during committee sessions. So it is suggested that, you put chits. Chits mein kya hua? Via in Zoom, there's a chat feature now. So you can go on a one-on-one chat with your delegate. And then you can talk about that, talk about a topic. So I'll talk about, substantive chits and stuff. So, ye ho gaya. So, important information. So, for example, now the delegate of, Canada is giving a speech. You cannot interrupt him. So, you go on chits and you just, pass a chit. Okay, now delegate of USA, let's start a 2v2 debate against Russia and China. Oh, delegate of USA, let's do this or that. So, this can be either substantive or informative. This depends on the executive board. How do they want to see the chit? And kindly send it via the EB so that the EB knows that you're working, you're lobbying. Simple as that. Is that clear? I think so. All right. Samuel, you're next.
Thank you for the recognition. I want to ask, how do we do via EB in chats?
So see, Zoom, there's a thing. If you're doing direct message, not only don't just send it to your delegate, but also send that message to the EB members, the director on their personal chat, so they see that how okay this guy's working. You can confirm with the logistics team, you can confirm with the logi team how do they want the Chit system. When you have your EB training sessions the next 2-3 days, you can ask the EB because it depends on the EB's their discretion. Is your doubt solved? If you have any other doubts.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Vihan.
So I had a doubt that how to create blocks and whatever like that, blocks and all.
Okay.
So I couldn't understand.
See, blocks, मैं बताता हूँ. You have a friend group in school, right? Everyone has friends groups in school. So that's basically for countries as well. Even a country has a friend group. अभी वो pre-existing होगा. India has friends already, okay, with USA, UK, Russia, etc. In the blocks ka this thing, kindly make your blocks with your coexisting friends, okay? For example, Canada's friend is USA. So you will kindly make a block with the USA. Then you can also make new blocks. Okay, for example, if you don't have relations with that country, you can start making relations. Now, but don't start making relations with a country which you have beef with or jiske saath lafda hai. For example, you won't see Ukraine making a block with Russia. Okay, they can't be on the same block. It does not make absolutely no sense. So kindly refrain. So go on Google, research a bit about your friends, the alliances of your country, and then accordingly go for your go for your blocks and stuff. Ideally, make it with your friends. Okay, your friend group.
So I had one more doubt that like how to communicate with them that okay, we should create a block or something like that.
So remember I talked about unmoderated caucus. So unmoderated caucus mein, it's like type of recess. Over there you can start lobbying. You can start making friends, or you can start lobbying right now as well. If you're in the groups, I think they might share the country matrix, or else you can start lobbying within the group. WhatsApp group mein you can just put delegates. I'm the delegate of India, or I'm the delegate of Saudi Arabia, and kindly share your allocations. And then on personal chat you can start making blocks itself. So if you start doing that lobbying within the group, the EB will think that ye banda matlab he is serious about the MU and he deserves a good recognition, best delegate type of shit. Because it shows that okay, you are willing to create alliances and stuff. So that's called lobbying. So you can make these blocks during the unmoderated caucus. You can make it on WhatsApp, or you can make it via chits as well. Delegate of Russia, would you like to enter a block with me? Is that understood?
No. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Next, Shilaka.
Yes. So I missed the first 15 minutes. So I just wanted to ask, what is an EB and what exactly is a resolution?
Okay. EB is basically, you have teachers in school, correct? Who handle the class. Same as EB. EBs, they are your managers of this thing. They foresee all the, so delegates, they debate and stuff. The EB recognizes and they maintain control of it. They are the police for the courtroom. They're the judge for the courtroom, where they decide who will speak, maintain order, how to speak, and then obviously decide who wins the committee. So EB basically is that your chair. So the director and your assistant directors. That's it. And resolution is where you know the agenda, correct? You know what's an agenda. You're clear with what's an agenda, right? So you know what's an agenda, right? So I'll tell you, agenda basically what the topic you're debating about in the MUN. Okay.
Yeah.
So the topic you're debating on the MUN. So over there, accordingly, you talk about that topic, and then wo agenda mein kya hai? You find a resolution to solve that agenda. Okay. Resolution ka matlab kya hota hai English mein? Resolution. Solution. You're finding a solution for the problem. So the resolution is that it's a document that finds the solution to the problem. Problem India-Pakistan war. Resolution will talk about how the peace talks or a ceasefire deal on how to stop the war. Ki India will take its troops away and Pakistan will take its troops away. That resolution will include that. Simple as that. And you write a resolution, kindly author.
Right. And about the GSL, so when you're giving a speech, you don't have to learn it, right? You can make a document, you can write on paper, and then you just give the speech.
See, I'll suggest one thing. You can see, you have your laptop, so you can read it. Okay, you don't have to memorize anything. You can read from a paper as well. But I suggest put your things in pointers. This is a very revolutionary thing. Very simple. Put these in pointers and then elaborate on these pointers chronologically. To say you have the freedom. You are not stuck to like word to word. Blogs are groups of blah blah countries and they have to where am I? Oh yeah, together to pursue comedy. You're reading now, your flow breaks away. You just improvise and stuff. You have the points points to discuss on the resolution or your talk on your GSL. Okay, I want to see this thing happen in my committee. I want to see this thing happen in my blocks, etc., etc. That's what your GSL will include.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. All right, Aradhya, yes.
Sir, I wanted to ask that, is it in the delegate's hand that in which way he or she wants to do a debate? For example, in a rowdy way or in a formal way?
In a round table, sorry. First one you said?
You said like that the fumble and fighting kind of
So
debate.
that depends on the EB. Okay, that depends on the directors. Most likely it would be like, in a sophisticated way. But if, you say the EB, EB, karne do na, Arnab Goswami style, I want to fight and stuff, then the EB might allow. So like unconventional committees like AIPPM. AIPPM is basically Lok Sabha committees. So these like, Rahul Gandhi and, Arnab, like this, Narendra Modi and stuff. So they will fight. They would be a fully unparliamentary. ए पप्पू तू ऐसा ऐसा क्या कर सकता है राहुल गांधी or oh Modi ji, etc., etc. It depends on the EB's discretion.
Okay, sir. And one more question.
Yes.
That do we have to like memorize the pointers, or we can just take the paper and just speak?
You can take the paper and speak. Memorize. Don't memorize it. Just keep the pointers. Pointers. Read out and then you explain. You elaborate on those pointers. Okay. I also suggest. You might have more MUNs later as well. If you have not, YouTube, there's a lot of, you should be aware of what's happening in the world. So it's easier for you to give contradictory things. There will be a lot of instances where you might have not researched on a specific point or specific part of the thing. So it's suggested that, every single day, thoda you research, you know what's happening in the world. Like what's happening in Iran right now, what's happening in Israel right now, what's happening in, Yemen right now. So Sika, you have that advantage over that other delegates. On basically, it's an overview of this thing.
Okay, sir.
I heard also. Of course. Okay, Advik.
Thank you for the recognition. I just wanted to ask that when we write about a speech, so how can we how can we write a speech which about a certain unspecified topic, like let's say multilateralism in a transitioning world? So how can we write a speech and how do we structure it?
See, do you know what so this is your agenda. Do you know what your country is?
Yeah. And just talking general.
Okay. So you have this topic. First, you do your research on what's your country's stance on this topic. First and foremost, you should know what's happening now. You go to Google, you research, you use a few books, you take this thing. You can ask me as well. You all have my number. I'm on every single group. You can ask me on personal chat as well. I'm happy to assist. Usme and you research about that. And then you just, when you have to make the speech, the pointers which are known for you, you just talk about, you put these in pointers, ki acha, multilateralism or multiculturalism. You put these in pointers and then you explain it in your own way. You just elaborate on your own way. So you take these pointers which you have remembered, or if you understand, your understanding of the topic, and then when you after researching, वो बस वो pointers में डाल देना, ठीक है? For example, मैं simple लेता हूँ India Pakistan because everyone understands Pakistan. India में, for example, India Pakistan war हुआ. I'm now UK, ठीक है? Now UK has to take a stand on if they want to support Pakistan, they want to support India. If I support India, I'll first research on my relations with India, and I'll talk in my pointers in my speech that we clearly condemn this war. We don't want lives to be lost. But if anything happens, we are fully with our allies India, or we're fully with our allies Pakistan, etc. etc. वो बस जो भी research किया वो pointers में डाल दो, and then वो pointers को elaborate करो, so that it's easy for you to understand. Are there any
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Yes, Arshay.
Yeah, hi Shlok.
Hi.
So I had a question regarding the debates. So can we raise like a motion, like unmoderated caucus, and when do they take place? Like, can they take place between these caucuses and everything?
तो see, देखो, unmoderated caucus is different. Moderated caucus में क्या है? It's during formal debate. ठीक है? And now debates का thing, you can again raise your motion to enter a debate. Okay, so I suggest you raise a motion to enter a debate. So for example, I'm the delegate of Vietnam. I raise my placard. The delegate of Vietnam would like to raise a motion to enter a 1v1 debate against the delegate of China. Okay, and then you talk about the topic for how many minutes, and then done. Simple as that. And then the debates will happen. You can also discuss on the debates during unmoderated caucus. For example, now while you're lobbying, while you're having a recess, when you're talking to your delegates, you ask them, okay, let's go for a 1v1, 2v2 debate. They say yes, to chalo. During the formal session, when when the chair is recognizing motions, you raise your motion. Okay, now with the delegate of Australia, with the delegate of New Zealand, I would want to go for a 2v2 debate. Simple as that. Is the doubt clear? All right, I hope so. Yes, Bianca. Or maybe I'll ask Aram.
So I have a doubt, like if how to counter the points. Like if I am from the side of India, so China is speaking against me. So how to counter that point?
So देखो, if you give a speech and I give out a point of information, okay? So now you can counter that point by saying, plead to right to reply. So when you have a POI, point of information, you have to answer. You don't have to raise anything in right to reply or plead to follow up. You have to answer the POI. So you can just answer. If they ask a question, what weapons do you have? So I'll just say, I have Rafale, Dassault Rafale, I have F-16, whatever. Now, if they have a follow-up question, they can ask, plead to follow up. Plead to follow up, they ask, and the executive board members will recognize, you can ask a plead to follow up. So plead to follow up is against your POI ka answer. Is that understood?
So can you repeat it once more?
Okay. For example, you're delegate of India. I'm delegate of USA. I ask you a question. How do you plan on retaliating against Pakistan? Okay, understood? How do you plan on going against Pakistan in the war? Yes, you will reply. Okay, you have to reply. Okay, I plan on doing this. I'll do surgical strike. I'll do Uri type surgical strike, or I'll drop bombs in Pakistan. Simple as that. And now, if I have a follow-up question, I'll say, plead to follow up. The chair will recognize, okay, plead to follow up. And then I'll ask, what type of bombs will you use, or how many casualties there might be there? Did you understand that? Speech
yes,
diya. GSL.
And that we will.
Sorry.
So we'll be
Your voice is
getting a
breaking.
team like there's a team of India, Pakistan, and all these who are in the same topic. And there is the against team like China, Russia, America. So they are in one side. So it will happen like that or single.
Again, there are no teams, there are blocks. Okay? Teams are, in the end, battle royale खेलते हो in COD or PUBG, BGMI. It's battle royale. In the end, you want to win best delegate. You all are individual people. You're all are individual delegates. You just form teams in battle royale. Simple as that. Same as that. You're forming teams. You're forming blocks in order to move forward. But in the end, you are debating for your own self. You're debating for your own country in that battle royale. So you just have teams in your blocks. You have just blocks, and in the end, you're answering for your own self, for your own delegation.
So in relation with other things.
Your voice is breaking.
Only for our.
Aram, I can't hear you. Your voice is breaking. Now, kindly turn off your camera, Aram.
Your voice is not audible.
Yeah, your voice is. Is my voice audible? Is it just my internet, or can you hear me? Aram, I'll address your doubt later, because I think you have some connection issues. Or else ask me on my personal chat. I'll also put my number in the end. So if you want to ask anything on WhatsApp, you can do that as well. If I don't end up answering your questions here right now. Okay. Okay. Next, I'll ask Ravi.
Okay, sir.
Wait,
Hi, I just received a message from the high school moms about my committee and my portfolio. So, is that the particular portfolio and the committee I'm assigned to, or I can choose by myself?
No. So this is the particular assignment which you have. You can't, if you want to change it, you can ask delegate affairs. You can contact the SecGen. But ideally, you should be happy with this. Go on with this. There is no, this thing on that. So for what is your allocation and your committee?
My committee is executive committee and my portfolio is Roseville.
Oh, nice. You shouldn't have a problem with that. Do aram se, you'll do it.
So I have to join the group based on the committee and the portfolio.
Yeah, delegates. I guess all of you all have got your allocations. Kindly join that group only, that committee which you have been assigned. Don't join another committee group on WhatsApp.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course, of course. All right. Avni, you can ask it.
Hi, Shlok. Thank you for the recognition.
Of course.
I was wondering, okay, so as you gave the example of India and Pakistan, so if, for example, I had a question, I asked it to you, but I was not satisfied with your answer.
Yeah.
So am I allowed to counter question it?
Yeah.
Like, am I allowed to ask another question?
So there's a term called plead to follow up. So if you're not satisfied with my answer, you say plead to follow up. Then the executive board will decide if it's viable or not. So for example, you ask me a question, I answer, and you're not satisfied. You say plead to follow up. Then the director will say, okay, granted, delegate. Then you can ask a follow up question.
All right. Thank you.
Maximum plead to follow ups are like 2 to 3 because you don't want a full debate or anything. And if there are a lot of plead to follow ups, you can raise a motion later for a 1v1 debate.
All right.
Got it? Next, Saina, if that's how I would pronounce it. I'm sorry. Delegates, if your question is answered, can you lower down your hands so that it's easy for me to recognize? Thank you.
I had a doubt that what should a GSL mainly focus on? Like you said that it is the most impactful part of your speech.
Basically, your stance in the committee. So you got your allocation, right? What is your allocation?
Let me just see it. It's a bit long. I didn't get it. My committee is 8 and my portfolio is Marcus Octavius, Tribune of the Plebs and opponent of Tribius Gracious.
Your Roman Senate.
Yes.
Yeah, so GSL mein kya, you research about your Roman Senate, and then in the Roman Senate ka this thing you talk about what Mark Octavius, whatever he is, what does he want in the committee, what does he want as a resolution to the problem in 133 BC, and then your stance and your alliances and stuff. What do you want to see from Julius Caesar, etc., etc. Understood? Of course. Yes, Sagar.
Once again, thank you for the recognition, Chair, Secretariat. So I checked the WhatsApp, but I couldn't find a group for like my particular committee. Like there are no groups for.
I think so. I'll ask the SecGen to address this doubt. You can ask Delegate Affairs, and I'll get back to you. Even I have to check about the groups and stuff because they're still allocating a few delegates. Uske baad you might get this thing soon. You might get your link soon. From where did you get this link for the Zoom meeting?
I got it from the common group, but I wanted one for like the committee that I am in.
Oh, what's your committee?
IMF.
Sorry, IMF. No. You'll get inducted to the IMF group. Don't worry about it. Or you can go via WhatsApp community. I'll just check and I'll get back to you later. All right. Bianca.
Yeah, I had two doubts that I wanted to ask.
Of course.
The first one is, one second. Yeah, the first one is, how do you pass a chit through the EB? Like, when do you do it? Do you raise your hand or interrupt someone?
You have a chat option over here. You can see chat on Zoom. So you send so ideally you should ask the EB members of your, so you're going to have a delegate training tomorrow, day after, in the next 2-3 days. You can ask this question to the EB, but what I think is you just, put it on chat. You put it on chat one-on-one. Okay. For example, any person. Okay. For example, I go to this thing, I text you Bianca personally, and then the same thing, send it to the director as well. So the director knows how to send it. But again, you can ask this question again to your EB members, or if you'll ask your EB members once again, it depends on their discretion on how they are comfortable with the Chit system.
All right. Thank you. The second one was about the WhatsApp group, and you already answered that.
Yeah. Even I'll check because even I need to be, inducted into every single group. I'll ask Shivansh and I'll get back to all of you. I'll also put my number over here. So if you all have any doubts or anything, you can just,
Great. Thank you.
Of course. So I'll just put my number over here. You can save it. Kindly don't call me at 2 in the night, please. Just that's the. All right. Kian, we can go next.
Yes, Shlok, I wanted to ask that recently I did a MUN in which I had a normal committee like Interpol. Say, I got to say the lines like the delegate of this country would like to say and all that, but
Interpol.
I did in the last MUN, the
Yeah.
previous MUN.
Okay.
So in this, I am in the committee of AIPPM. So how will I address
देखो, it
how will I
depends.
address
So AIPPM में क्या होता है? Like, you know, these unconventional listening, where you're a particular person and not a country. For example, AIPPM में you're what? Narendra Modi or anything. For example, ठीक है? For example, you're Narendra Modi. You don't say delegate of Narendra Modi. You just say Narendra Modi. Or if you're in the executive committee for USA, you don't say delegate of John F. Kennedy. You just say John F. Kennedy. बस अपने आदमी का नाम. That's it. But if you want to say delegate of Narendra Modi, you can say it's not a rule or anything. But ideally, just say, you know, Narendra Modi. So, oh, also one more thing which I should mention, I forgot to mention, personal pronouns. That's very important. Personal pronouns. You can't say I, you, we, she, he. You can't say that. You can say delegate of India, delegate of Pakistan, delegate of this thing. For example, I want to
meant
raise a
that
motion.
only.
Sorry?
I meant this only like how will I address myself in this committee?
So an address in third person. So what's your allocation?
1 second, I'll just confirm that.
Yeah. So, for example, if you're Narendra Modi, so I say Narendra Modi would like to raise a motion to enter a moderated caucus.
Okay.
That's
okay. Sharad Pawar, by the way.
Sharad Pawar, very good, yeah. Sharad Pawar, you say, you know, Sharad Pawar would like to raise a motion to, you know, enter a moderated caucus or, you know, a 1v1 debate, etc. Delegates, you have very good allocations. Don't, that tension mat lo, huh? All of you all who are stressing about your allocations, tension mat lo. You all have very, very good allocations. We have worked very hard for the country, Matrix. You all will enjoy. All right, thank you, Kian. Okay, Pankudi, I'm sorry if I mispronounce the name.
Hi, thank you so much. I would just like to ask if you would be sharing the presentation.
Yeah, I would ideally share the presentation. I'll get inducted into all the WhatsApp groups and I'll put it in a comment this thing. No worry. I'll do that. All right. Korpal, you can go next.
Hi, Shlok. Right. So can you explain once again how POIs work?
Explain, sorry.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah. Can you once again explain how POIs work?
POI is basically, I give a speech. Yeah, you have a question. You raise a point of information. I have a POI and then I'll just answer it. Point of information is basically a question. Yeah, it's just a question. That's it, to another delegate. I hope you understand. Right? Sure. Yeah, regarding allocations and stuff, now if you have not received your allocation, then kindly contact with the SecGen and then you can accordingly go forward with it. So I suggest you talk to delegate affairs. But you all will get your allocation sooner or later. Don't worry about it. Okay, yes, Chetali.
Yeah, I had two questions and thank you for. I just had two questions for the
Yes.
from you. I just wanted to ask that if I need any personal guide for this MUN,
Hmm.
so where would we get? As I got the message from high school moms.
Yeah, so you'll get a background guide. So all of your executive board members have worked very hard. You'll get a background guide soon. It will be shared on your groups, and from there you can, you know, do your research and stuff.
Okay, and the next question was what is exactly POI? As during when you were explaining that thing, I wasn't in the class as
Yeah.
due to network error.
So just as I answered right now, POI is basically a question to the speaker. Another delegate. For example, you give a speech. I raise a point of information. I have a POI on so and so on your speech, etc. And then you just answer. Is that
Yeah.
understood? It's basically a question. Okay, it's not attention. It's basically a question.
Okay.
POI is a question to a delegate, and point of parliamentary inquiry is a question to the EB, to the executive board.
Yeah.
Simple. All right. Thank you. All right, Devisha, you can go next.
Oh, hey, so I had a question like, my elder sister has been to MUN before, and she told me that at the spot you get the topic, whatever you have to defend or whatever.
Yes.
So, sorry about that. So you have to prepare that and you get 2 minutes and stuff. So the right now the topic and agenda, whatever we have given, like the information we have been provided with, we have to stuck with that or we'll get the topics on spot.
No, this is your agenda, and you just prepare for that for the next week.
Okay, so and the PDF we have been shared with, we can prepare. We have given all the matter in that, so we have to prepare with that only, right?
Not just that, you like prepare with that, of course, but also use other sources. Okay, for example.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Yes, Ravi.
Hi. I have to ask just 2 or more questions. Is that okay for you?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay, so it's my first time participating in MUN. So can you give me tips?
Good tips. ठीक है, चलो. This is first of all GSL ना copy paste मत मारो. Okay, don't go from Wikipedia and stuff. Put it in pointers. You say it in pointers and you elaborate on pointers. You will have the freedom of saying and use. Okay, I'm telling you this. It's not really written anywhere, but what I use, which really helps me, using dramatics. You say monotonous voice, man. The delegate of Germany wants to say that the delegate of India is not doing all of this. Pakistan should not retaliate. Everyone will get bored, all of you all will sleep. You all have to have that gravitas कि हाँ चलो ये बंदा बोल रहा है इसकी बात सुननी चाहिए because ये काम की चीज बोल रहा है and because he's entertaining and stuff. You use dramatics, you use rhetorical questions. For example, you say, what is the time right now? Well, I think it's a time for Pakistan to take some action. I think it's time for Pakistan to do something for the world. It should stop financing terrorism.
We have to speak with confidence, right?
Of course, confidence. My confidence is there. Well, guys, don't refrain from speaking at all. Okay, देखो, you screw up, people will care for the last 5 seconds, only for 5 seconds. They'll forget and they'll start worrying about their own speech. But if you do very, very well, people will remember it for a very long time. They'll remember for a lifetime. In fact, it will show because if you do very well, it will go on your best delegate portfolio. You can show to universities when you're applying for universities, you're applying for UCLA, Georgetown, etc. It will show your application that how you're a good public speaker, and they want that. They want good public speakers. So tension mat lo. There is a more reward than there is risk. Okay. So, for example, I've been speaking for like 1.5 hours against some 30-40 people. I don't care if I screw up because see, I won't meet all of you all anytime soon. I might meet you in the committee sessions. In real life, I don't have to worry. So, tension mat. Go in.
And do we have an option to read out the speech?
Yeah, read out a speech. There's no problem with that. Just don't go monotonous.
Yeah, Chitali asked, like we'll get a personal guide for
You'll get a
doubt.
background guide. Not personally, you'll get a background guide for every single committee. Your executive committee, right? So you'll get this background guides from your EB members. So
okay, thank you so much.
Of course. Yes, Aram. Yes, you had internet issues earlier. Address the questions. Yeah.
So like at a time, many people like China said a point on and many people at time raised their hand to counter the point. So how we can organize and how every speaker can get a chance in MUN to speak.
I'll tell you one thing. Not everyone will get a chance at a specific point of time. If there are like 10 people raising their hands, only 2-3 would be recognized or 4-5 would be recognized. But it's not like you won't be recognized at all in the 3 days of conference. It's not like that. But ideally, most likely you won't be recognized for every single thing. So usme, don't feel bad about it or anything. Just go with a good flow. So if you want to give a POI, only 5 would be recognized out of 7. So it does not mean that you won't get a chance at all. It just means that you won't get a chance for that period of time. Is that understood? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? बोलना अभी बोल दो. क्या? All good? You're muted if you're asking it out. Yeah.
So like as you listen my voice as of now, so can you tell me what are the things which I need to improve?
I don't know. I've not seen you debate. So I can't say anything on improvement, but I just go confidently. By confidently, if you even, of course, don't say nonsense that, India is friends with Pakistan, India, Pakistan ka beta hai or whatever. Don't say all of that confidently, but confidently give your points, convey your points properly. That's it. confidently bologe, and अच्छे से bologe, you abide by your foreign policy, you are researched very well, your topic, your points are clear, your points are accurate, they're correct. You can't say India got freedom in 2000. That's not true. It's 1947. So wo sab mein bhi you would be penalized. So get your points straight, get your research straight, and be confident. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Yes, Khushi.
Yes. Is my voice clear?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Sir, I don't know if it's a silly question or whatever.
No question silly. Ask.
Actually, this is my first MUN, and so मेरे आसपास कोई है नहीं जिनसे मैं पूछूं कि MUN क्या होता है and all. So I just want to ask that in MUN, are we having a structured events like पहले ये बोलेगा, then ये पहले ये debate चलेगी, then mobile debate चलेगी, या मतलब please tell me the structure.
It's a good question, actually. I should. So, dekho, it starts off by the chair starting that now we are in a formal session. The agenda is set. Then first would be roll call. Roll call okay, if you're present or you're absent, or if you're voting or not. Wo hua roll call. Then it will always start with GSL. After roll call, GSL hoga. And after GSL, it is your freedom. What do you want? Okay. It's your freedom. What do you want? If you want a moderated caucus, you want an unmoderated caucus, you want debates, you want round table conference, you want battle royale. There are a lot of things that can happen. I don't know about TTD MUN, but and I'm from Bombay. Okay, I'm from Mumbai. Bombay circuit has a lot of things that can happen. There can be battle royale happening between delegates, or there can be motion of entertainment, whatnot. So it depends on you. It depends on the motions that you raise. Is that understood? All right, perfect. Any other doubts? No.
I just want to ask कि जो WhatsApp group है, like मैं अभी वो communication वाले group में हूँ, जो common.
Yeah.
जो WhatsApp group है, वो क्या हमें उसका link provide होगा या हमें खुद जाके वहाँ पे join करना?
To be honest, I myself am not very sure about the WhatsApp group. You can ask Shivansh, or I'll ask this question to him, and I'll get back to you all. And if you want to ask any other doubts as well, you can just ask me you can just text me on my number. I've put it on the group in the chat box. Okay. Oh, also one more thing which I forgot to mention. Now the EB members will talk about this. This is not applied for every single committee, but there's also something called crisis. The EB members will do it, but I'll just give you an overview. Crisis is the best part of MUNs. The best part of MUNs. Crisis is absolute nonsense. Literally absolute nonsense. But itna maza aata hai. It's the only time where you can actually enjoy the MUN, like full jaake. Crisis mein kya hota hai? It's a made up event. कि made up कुछ problem हुआ है, made up crisis हुआ है. There's a crisis in the world, and then you have to find solutions and stuff. Now, I won't elaborate much on it. It depends on your EB members, if your committee is a crisis committee or not. But I just want to give you a warning that something ballistic can happen. Crisis में कुछ भी nonsense होता है. For example, India has invaded Netherlands. The most random things can happen. Or Rahul Gandhi has gone to Pakistan. He's the Prime Minister of Pakistan now. That's the amount of nonsense that can happen in the crisis. Last time, I was Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi got arrested because Arvind Kejriwal became the dictator, and he didn't want Narendra Modi because he thought Narendra Modi is a drunk guy and he's not fit for being prime minister. It's all nonsense, but it's a lot of fun. All right, Gauri, you can go out next.
Hi, Shlok. So I had this doubt. You said certain chits you should send it via the EB. So what kind of chits should I send via the EB, and what kind of chits should I send informally? Could you please tell me?
See, they go. If you're talking about resolution or anything, okay, if you have resolution or anything, then it go via EB. Again, because it's a good thing. But if you're talking about, hey, chal samosa khane chahte afterwards, or oh, I like you a lot, I think you're cute, can I ask you out? Post some nonsense, don't send it via EB. Okay, don't do it at all. Okay, you can do it later after the MUN. Don't do it during committee sessions on chits. Do proper, which is MUN related. For example, the topic hua on the resolution, the directive, the crisis, the moderated caucus, etc. So that you can send it via EB. Now it depends on your thinking. How do you see if there's formal or not? Okay, don't ask questions such as don't send it via EB that what website did you research from or anything. You can ask it informally as well. But yeah, it depends on this thing. It's your creative liberty to decide on what's should be sent to the EB or not. If you think it's formal enough, then send it.
What about invitations to make blogs?
Sorry.
Invitation to form blogs. That kind
you can send it via EB as well. That's not a problem. Send via EB. So the EB knows that you're lobbying. And kindly do it on the WhatsApp group. So when you're added to the WhatsApp groups, kindly, on the WhatsApp groups, start lobbying by sharing your allocations and then asking what your allocations are and, what do you want to see in the future, etc., etc. Okay? Are your doubts clear? I can't hear you if you are speaking. Yes, Pankaj. Pankaj, if you have a question. Yes.
Hi. Thank you so much. I would just like to ask if
The voice is breaking.
companies.
The voice is breaking. I'm sorry.
Hi. Is it possible to change committees?
You have to talk to the SecGen for that. It's not in my hands. Well, what's your committee right now? Your voice is breaking. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Can you put it on?
I'm in Roman Senate.
Roman Senate, okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
sure.
If you have any doubts or anything, you can ask without any this thing. You can go on text. You can text me, and if you have any doubts, if you need any help. Ideally, we do not suggest changing committee or allocations, but if you want to, you can ask. You can talk to Shivansh directly. Right? All right. Thank you. Yes, Navya.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So basically, I have two doubts. The first one is how to create a good document.
Good document. Document for research or resolution.
DR, basically.
Sorry?
DR.
Directives. Acha, the draft resolution, huh? So I showed this thing. I suggest go to bestdelegate.com. वहाँ पे all of your doubts can be best delegate में now. If you don't have, see, I of course I think it's getting time. It's getting late. Of course, I just want to. Okay, I'll take a last few 5 doubts. Then I'll end the session because I think it's getting a bit too late. And if you have any other doubts, you can just DM me. You can text me on WhatsApp. I suggest you stay just for 5-10 minutes because you might not have the doubt, but if others have the doubt, you might learn from it. I'll just take the last 5 doubts. If you have any other doubts, you can go ahead. Yes, talking about a good resolution, you can go to bestdelegate.com and you can check prompt resolutions or sample resolutions, and then you can take inspiration from the outlet.
All right. And about the crisis committee.
Sorry?
I mean, I always suck up with the crisis committee.
What's your doubt in crisis? Like, you don't understand or?
No, actually, I perform well in committee overall, but in the crisis, I don't do as well.
Crisis,
so I just wanted some tips.
you have entire liberty on doing whatever you want to do in crisis. You can make up your own stories. Go full impromptu, go full ballistic. जो भी मालूम है ना बोल दो. So I suggest if you have any doubts with crisis, I suggest you talk to you can come on PC and I can address your doubts over there, or you can talk to your directors as well. So accordingly,
All right.
it depends on that. All right.
All right. The last doubt, I promise. How to outstand with small allocation?
Sorry, how to?
Outstand with a small allocation.
Outstar.
Outstand.
Oh, they go. So I think small delegations is a boon because you don't have to rely on any foreign policy. You are very neutral. So you can choose any side you want, and then you can speak about this thing and give a solution. Oh, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing that. It's a boon because you're not limited to some sort of foreign policy. You can say whatever you want to say. Of course, you can't, but you can have a greater freedom of saying what you want to say. So accordingly, you can perform very well. So uske wajah se, I think it's a boon rather than a curse.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course. Yes, Samuel.
Thank you once again for the recognition, Secretariat. So I had a doubt about the round robin. You said that would also be applicable, but how does that work in an online MUN?
Round robin, I suggest, I don't think round robin would be initiated by the directors, but you can ask tomorrow, day after you have your EB training sessions, you can ask your EB members for that. Usme kya hai? Accordingly, they'll suggest how they want the round robin. It depends on them. Right?
Thank
you. Yes, Arovi.
Hi, am I audible?
very faintly, but sure. You can.
What's the difference between the working paper and the draft resolution, and
देखो,
how to be submitted?
So working paper, it depends on your committees. Again, you can ask your EB members because some committees have working papers and some committees don't. So working papers, you can rely on, like, the best delegate, which I talked about. I'll put the link over here as well as bestdelegate.com. You can go for that, and tomorrow you ask your EB members on your directors ki how do you want to working papers, because it depends on their committee. If it's a conventional committee, then it would be a normal this thing. But if it's an unconventional committee like Roman Senate, Executive Committee, etc., then you go for that. Is that understood? Are there any more doubts? All right. Second last doubt. After that, you can just ask me on this thing. Yes, Shrishta.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I wanted to ask, is there going to be anything sort of a mock MUN for first timers or anything like that?
I'm like, this is a first timers come mock MUN. It's like a free MUN. You can access and stuff. You can gain a lot of experience. So we won't have a mock MUN, but yeah, we would have training sessions which help you prepare. So don't worry about that. Don't get too nervous. And I'll pop into your committees once in a while. So if there's any problems and stuff, you can. And you have my number. You can, if you have any other doubts, you can just put it over there for any more.
Thanks.
Yes, Chetali. I understand it's getting late, so I'll rush it off. Yes. Yes, Chetali.
I just wanted to ask, I just had one more doubt. Are you having a problem with that?
No problem. Ask.
I was just asking that, are there some particular group named for particular portfolios?
Are there some particular
group names? Like we have just like Ravi said that she has gotten a committee of executive committee, and I have gotten an UNSC SCW. So are there some particular groups on WhatsApp which are particularly for our portfolios?
No, it's if you want to lobby, if you want to make your own blocks, as I talked about blocks, then you can make your own groups. We are not going to make it.
And the second question which I wanted to ask was that the teen debater group community which high mom
yes.
There are so many communities in. Are we supposed to join all of them, or
so again, I'm not very sure about it. So you can ask Shivansh, you can ask your section, and you can ask your EB members. Accordingly, they'll put you in the group or the committee which you want, which you have. I'll get okay.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Aram. I'll cut it short. Yes, Aram.
So like in a server, the persons which will join, who will join will be from a particular country or from different countries. Like I joined from India.
As everyone's from
So
India.
there will be persons from China, Iran, and from.
No. It would all be like, Indians only. Some, Middle Eastern and stuff, max to max, or some British. But mostly the Indians. It's from India only. All right. Thank you. And last, Anya. And then I'll conclude this thing. I understand it's getting very late. So I'll just conclude it briefly. Yes.
Hi, Shlok. My committee is National Assembly of France, and my portfolio is about Claude Fawcett. Yes. And I'm confused about it. What should I prepare? How should I prepare my paper?
See, come to personal chat because I'll address these doubts personally. I don't want to take much of others' time as well. You can come on personal chat. You have my number. We'll just talk it over there. Have you done French Revolution in history?
Yes.
In your school? It would be slightly easier for you, but I'll help you. Don't take a lot of tension. Others are also first timers, so you don't need to worry about it. But yeah, I'll help you. I'll see if you have any doubts. Ask me. There is no barrier or anything. I would not mind. All right, I think it's getting late. It's been quite a few hours, and I hope it's given you a great amount of perspective. If you have any other doubts, you have my number. Go, you can ask Bejajak. Don't refrain from asking questions. It's good to ask questions. And I think that's it. You'll have committee sessions with your EB members soon in the next 2-3 days. And I hope this has given you some perspective. You understand the ROP and stuff. And if you have any other doubts, you can just ask me a question on WhatsApp. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for attending. I understand it's getting late. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for bearing with me. And have a good night, everyone. Best of luck for everyone.